So now first is the Stafford Gambit. It is one that I enjoy to play a lot, and it works really well in low elos because if white takes here, then you don't want to take here because then they can bring out queen. If you make a bad move like that, then free queen. What you want to do here is bring out your knight, and they think, cool, free knight. Now you have opened up an amazing position for you. You have all of these diagonals open. They have one hanging piece out. You have a developed knight. You have doubled up pawns, which sort of sucks, but you do have defense over these squares. One being middle four, plus then you are attacking that. Regardless, it is a good position to be in, and they don't want to hang their only piece. So they defend here, right? Pretty normal. You bishop c5, you're just attacking here, threatening something, just forky like that, you know. Yeah, it's a pretty standard move. They try and get bishop out so that they can castle and protect this piece with their rook and get the rook out of a fork if you decide to play something like that. You do decide to play something like that, you will push this pawn. It's defended and it allows you to take this square. Okay? They castle. They think, cool, if you go here, then that's not going to do anything. I'll just take you. But that's not where you want to go. Instead, they think, yeah, well, I mean, cool, but, you know, this is a free spot and it forks these two. There is some danger of having the knight here. So its two main takes are here and here. If goes on f2, then rook just takes, king is safe. But if it goes on h2, then king comes out, and then with black squared bishop and queen, you could get something out of that. So a lot of low elo players will think that's dangerous and press their pawn to attack the knight, which seems like a good move because sort of forces that take trade. But it doesn't. You can move your queen out. And now you're threatening mate in one if they don't take. Because if they go here, it's still just mate in two because pinned piece. Now this is a very, very dangerous position for white. And if they don't play it right, then they're not going to win. And sadly, a lot of people don't play this right. They think, if I take the knight, then that stops checkmate here. It really doesn't. You go here, and then it is an inevitable checkmate. You cannot block it. If you go g3, then queen just takes. This is pinned, can't take the queen, and then that's mate. So realistically, you can only stall. You could go there, could go there, could go there. It's checkmate regardless. So very strong attacking opening. If you want something more secure, then you could probably play Sicilian. It's a very strong defense. You could imagine that it's not crazy complex from here, but that's probably the wrong idea. Because from the simplest perspective, they have more center space than you do, and that's not good for an opening. But you have to think, if they push that, you take, queen takes, knight's there, and then you have development and you push back the queen. So that is the first premise of this, but the whole gist of the Sicilian is to get a lot of control over the queen side of the middle, or mainly just the queen side. So your two goals are to have a pawn chain that holds any of these squares and to have a bishop that can attack on queen side. Okay, so a really common move here would just be probably not d3, but just developing a knight. That's very basic. What you could do is you could protect your queen, but I don't think that you really need to. You can start up on the bishop, and then you have a lot of attack on the queen side. So now they obviously see this, and they think, okay, cool, I'll just go kingside. No issue. So you think, sure, I will still keep bishop there, because just because someone castles queenside or castles kingside doesn't mean that there isn't still material on the other side. If they castle here, then you can start pushing your knight any way you want. You could get your queen out to attack something. You could do a lot on the queen side. And regardless of whether that's going to checkmate them, probably not, but it is not intended to be an early mate thing. So they were on something pretty similar to this, just developing, getting the ability to castle. Now, you both castle here, right? This is how it's just gonna look for most of the time. But this is so much more secure than any trap opening. This is so much more secure than a gambit, because they can't really deny this. They could sure do this and put pressure if they were to move something. Like they could go here, which is a weakness of a fianchetto, but you are defended very well, and then you can develop here, get all your lazy pieces out, trade this. It doesn't really matter, because now, yes, they do have an attacking position, but look at all the defense on your king. They have... It's just a big difference. Plus, you're still targeting all of this free material over here. Still targeting the lazy rook. They have that. They have that. That's not a lot. It's a very close position for both of you, but you have the better closed position. And that's why the Sicilian is really common in higher elos, because it's just a way for you to win without exploiting your opponent being bad, because at some point you can't do that anymore. So I don't have any checkmates that you could really go within 20 moves of playing the Sicilian, but it's a positionally very strong opening. So yeah. And now, since I've just shown you... And now, since I've just shown you a pretty stagnant, pretty closed opening, I want to show something that is a bit more offensive and a lot more rewarding to play. So, very, very basic. Attack, threaten that. Yeah, just Italian game. Really, really common. So you'll permit that. Fried liver. You push that. They take. Okay? Now, they're threatening to take here. So you move the knight away, but not to here, not to here, not to really anywhere that's like that. You move it to d4, which is a really offensive square, but there's not a lot that they can do about it. They can push that, then you get like there, you can go to a few places. It's relatively safe if they want to continue their attack. So they can't quite do it because pawn blocks. So this is the most common move. And you might think, yeah, wow, that's stupid. You've just given them a free fork. Queen and rook, right? So you threaten their bishop. And if they want to make that trade, then you have a very aggressive position put onto e2. Or they could try and castle, but I don't think that's quite what a lot of people want to do. I think they want to defend this bishop. So common move for white is just to try and defend with a pawn. You take g2. So now you're threatening a lot here, because king can't evacuate. It's going to be forced bishop if they decide to take the rook. So say that they do. They do the rook trade. This is a really bad position that white is in because it forces them to move their bishop, and then once you get bishop here, it is threatening mate in one, so there is only one real move that they can do. They can push the pawn, give themselves an escape. So you take there, here. Now, this square's covered, this square's covered. This square isn't covered, but it seems a bit iffy for most people to play because then you can get just a chain of checks, and then with a knight here, a bishop here, and a queen here with minimal available defense, it's just going to end up in mate. So what is quite common is to run that, and then from there you could probably just smothered mate them or pawn up. So imagine they do pawn up there, force move there, checkmate. Okay, if they don't, if they run knight up, you will basically just do the same thing. There. Can't take because it's pinned. Can't go there. It's mate whatever they do there. So if we go back, before that happens, what if they want to defend their rook? Don't want to get that to happen. They go here, right? Can't take because queen will just be taken by king. Okay? Then you go here. So now they can either hang their queen, or they could protect with a bishop. Really, really bad move. Really horrible move. Checkmate. Pinned bishop, cannot take. No possible moves. Checkmate. So that's why Fritz is probably my favorite attacking. Just opening. I don't know which one's better, Fritz or Stafford. It really just depends on how you like to play, what you like to play, but they are both very, very solid attacks, and anywhere low elo, this will just either result in you getting crazy piece advantage or just winning the game through checkmate very early on. And now for the second last opening, it won't quite be a mating one as the last one will be, but it is very, very strong defensively. King's Indian defense. You are putting pressure on these two squares. Those two squares could be defended. They could have played d3. They could have played, f3. There's a lot that they could have played. They could have played g3. There are a lot of variations to what white can play here, but there's hardly any variation to what black plays, because the idea is to get a fianchetto that you can sit your castle behind and then develop a just positionally very, very difficult to break structure that just results in you getting good trades, and eventually you can just push a wall up into a potential either checkmate or just flush that gives you so much more pieces and value. So this is, I just use this as my basic opening for white because it is quite basic. It is quite standard for white to play. You could do that, opens up to castle, and now white has a better position here, but they can't really do much. I mean, sure, they could press this if they wanted to, but then you just go here. Then you can stagger this into a pawn chain. You can then have this backed up and protected by, that. You could push this to try and open up the rook file. the entire point of this opening is to give you the freedom to play however you want once you have a defensive structure up, because you could play very aggressive with all the setup that you've done. You have all of these good bishop diagonals once you've set all of this up. You have a super defensive thing that will not let them get through if they try to do trades or whatever. You are just in a remarkably better position once, yeah, so given that, 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 you know, could take, that's stupid, can't take. It's not in desperate need of anything, but you know, there could always be like a move such as h5 puts queen on attack. It's a hanging piece. It's just, look at the wall that you have constructed in 6 moves. You have control over this square, this square, this square, this square, and yeah, you have this diagonal, you have a staggered pawn here, you have your whole castling area is just red. You control all of it. There is no trading in that area that does not result in you winning material. It is probably the best defensive opening you could play as black. And now there's one move that white can play that hasn't really been covered, and for this last opening, then nobody will want to play d4 after being hit with the England gambit, because free pawn, right? You open up that, you could do a lot of stuff. It's just a free pawn. You're up material now. So attack, defend, attack, defend. This all looks really, really natural, usual. Okay, it's a bit strange that we're defending with our queen, but I suppose bishop's a bit stuck, so you can use what you got. It's all just playing out over this. It's a really offensive pawn that could cause damage to black if they choose to castle kingside. It looks really basic until b4, because now you are targeting so much. You're attacking the hanging bishop, you are checking, you are attacking the cornered rook. Now that is a move, I suppose, but free bishop, and then you can just win the pawn trade, and it's just, you have a queen out there of nothing. It isn't an amazing move to use your knight, but what you do see a lot is bishop d2. And then, of course, the only real move that you were going to play is queen captures b2. Now you're attacking the rook, and there is no real defense to that. I suppose that could be played, but then, yeah, I could just develop more. Yeah, I could just do other stuff. This is in no huge defense. This is not being targeted by anything. It's not in a hugely developed area. So what is wanted to do here tends to be bishop c3, because it's protected by knight, knight's protected by rook, rook's protected by bishop. It's just a cycle. This seems strong because can't go there, queen takes, can't go here, pawn takes, can't go here, bishop takes. If you go here, you're losing so much ground, and if you go here, rook takes, take, bishop takes, just the queen appears quite stuck, and that's what you want them to think. You pin their bishop. If they take, then you take. You're winning material. So now, I don't think that white will be enjoying this position, because you are also threatening to start a battery like this, and that is very dangerous, because queen up, you take rook, and then there's a queen just being hung in front of a bishop, and then if they take the bishop, you take the knight. It's check. They have to defend with something, or they can just move out, and then you can capture. You can do a lot of things. You can capture queen. It is a really strong position here, but what I've seen people do is really not smart. Queen d2. You have lost the game for yourself. Takes. And now this is a horrible threat. You're threatening checkmate because of the pin. Even if you were to move there, you're threatening to take the queen. There is hardly anything that you can do. You could take with knight, but then, free rook and a check. It is a really brutal position to put white into, especially with only 2 pieces. So the worst possible move here, queen, checkmate. Or what some could try and do, there, then you're so much up. You're 8 pieces up with a target here, and a check. So it's just really bad position. There, check, protect, take. Now you're targeting this. You are up 9 points of material, and their position on the queen side is absolutely destroyed. Okay, and that's why I love the England Gambit, because it punishes anyone who tries to play d4. I hate d4. I love e4 because I got so many openings for it. If this is the only queen pawn opening that I really need. I could have a couple more, and I do, but I hardly ever play them. This is the queen opening. So yeah. Those are the openings that you can play as black. They're really simple, I think. You can always check back on this video to remember if you're in, I don't know, a rapid 10-minute. They're just pretty solid openings that can cater to however you want to play. I put in some defensive, I put in some gambits or traps. I've tried to cater to everyone. So if you like the content, please subscribe, interact with the video, like, favorite, do anything. But all I can really ask is that if you think that the content is helpful, please check out more of it, because it helps it get pushed and it helps you learn how to play chess better. So I will try and post more. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.